to the Fantasy Footballers Podcast with your hosts, Andy Holloway, Jason Moore, and Mike Wright.
Oh, welcome in!
Andy! That's the best you've ever sounded.
That was a weird one, dude.
Hey, guys. Welcome to the Fantasy Footballers.
Happy to be here.
I'm glad to be back on the show.
I don't know if Andy's happy to be.
I sound great.
Yeah, this is why we had a two-man show last outing and why we should have had a two-man show this outing.
Yeah, if you're like, hey, why was it like it was worse than this?
Right.
The bear was better.
He had
He held it down.
Excellent wisdom as to when not to speak.
I mean, it's a May episode of the Fantasy Footballers, and we are like 10 days away from the 12 days. Oh, so I get to do player profile videos.
Yeah, you do.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Over 100 of them, Andy.
Do I sound like a raspy, sexy scoundrel though? Like, is it like
Yes.
One of those.
Yes.
Not telling you which one,
No. Welcome back
but
to.
it's raspy.
Welcome back to Arizona, Jason.
Yeah, no, I was. I had a weekend in Vegas and
Bulk season.
a little bit of bulk season. We ate our weight.
Kings and Queens in Vegas. You were celebrating your 20th anniversary.
Yes, sir. Celebrating with putting on 6 pounds.
You
20 for 20.
You said something yesterday on your way back, like you might move there.
I don't think I'm going to stay here. I think I want to live at the Wynn. So
Can you get a year round at the Wynn?
I don't know, Mr. and Mrs. Wynn. If you're listening, I am willing to accept a full-time residency.
So we were getting these messages from Jason
man.
that definitely had the illusions that he was in Vegas. I mean, he was coming after a my guy that I have on my initial list, just like
I want him.
somewhere. Where were you when you're messaging me about a my guy? Were you in the middle of a
You better not have been at the tables.
been at the tables?
Ethereal plane. No, Mike. I know better.
Thank you.
I know better.
We
I
don't-
step away.
We don't know what's happening, but we do know the UDK is coming out in like
12 days.
12 days, and very, very excited about that. All the free rankings for 2025 draft rankings are initial set. They're up on the website, thefantasyfootballers.com. You can go check those out. The communities at jointhefoot.com. And 12 days away. Very excited. Today we have some kind of stat insights, some initial thoughts from our rankings that we wanted to share, and we'll get into some mailbag. And that's what we got going on. How are you doing, Mike? You're not coming back from Vegas or an illness.
No. I'm good, man.
You're just living life.
Hey, everything is everything.
Everything
Just regular, which is a pretty great place to be. You don't want to. You want to be
Yeah,
regular.
Not too high, not too low. Oh, yeah.
I'm just talking bowel movements.
Yo, I got there.
Yeah.
I figured the joke out.
Oh, we're doing great. We're doing Deucer's Alley. The guys are there.
Oh, no. Oh, no, mess. We got a bleeder.
Oh, man, Andy's embarrassed. He didn't realize
Sorry,
that
Matt.
he shouldn't have gone to the camera. But now everyone can go to YouTube and look at Deucer's Alley.
So we're doing great. Thank you for
the
supporting
Falcons
the show.
soared too high in the altitude
Oh, no.
and got blood nose.
I went to the Deucer's camera and forgot there was a medical emergency happening in Deucer's Alley.
No one's going to screenshot it.
Oh, man.
Oh, no, what did I just say?
What is happening today?
What's happening is
Do I have to-
we don't know what's happening.
Dude, I have to commandeer the ship.
We have a quick question, Mike. What are we doing?
So the quick question today, the stats are done. The initial stats for the UDK, where we go out, we rank the teams, we put in projections for the players, and people wanted to know, like, what do we have surprise-wise? Because the initial set always has some very interesting things where it either confirms exactly what you felt in your heart, or you find out that the heart has been overpowered by the mind and logic has prevailed, and you're like, oh, well, I guess I'm not as high on that player as I thought I was. So we all picked out, some players that we thought this is very interesting. I'll start here. And the Chicago Bears running back room is strange. We had the whole offseason DeAndre Swift saga where he surely was going to be replaced in the draft. And Ashton Genty did not drop to 10. So they took Colston Loveland. They got their Sam Laporta. And then in the second round, right before the Chicago Bears were about to pick, Travion Henderson, kind of the final of the real big boys, the real big prospects, he got picked. And then the Bears are like, okay, we're out of here. And then you kind of saw, you can follow a trail of breadcrumbs throughout the draft as well, seeing the Bears about to be up, and then a running back getting selected, and they're like, ugh, okay, move back. We don't care anymore. So the room as of right now, it's DeAndre Swift, and it is Roschon Johnson. And after going through my stats and my projections, because Swift he feels like it's way too high, but you're like, man, I don't know what you do with the Ben Johnson system. But the point of the Ben Johnson system, at least in Detroit, was it was a timeshare. It was a two-headed monster where the veteran, not Jahmyr Gibbs, you had David Montgomery, often starting the game, often playing the bulk of the first quarter, and you're like, Ben Johnson already had the DeAndre Swift experience. And when he had DeAndre Swift, that dude played a low amount of snaps. He caught a bunch of passes, but snap-wise, it's very low. And you're looking at the depth chart, who else can possibly step up? So I gave a healthy projection to Roschon Johnson, and he is firmly in the range of guys that I will be targeting as of right now.
Yeah, I mean, that is late round sleeper category.
Of course, yeah. I'm not going to overreach for Roschon.
I did not know this was what you were going to bring up today. And so I will tell you, I'm not kidding when I made and retracted a trade offer for DeAndre Swift this morning because of how much confidence I have in what they've done on the offensive line.
Yes.
In fact, part of the news today was Joe Thuney signing another 2-year deal. They have Jonah Jackson.
A 2-year deal.
Yeah. Okay.
Swish.
Oh, my God.
Swish. No takesy-backsies.
Jonah Jackson.
Jason, you're shaking your head like you weren't thinking it.
That was terrible.
I beat you to it.
It was terrible.
I love their offensive line changes. I love Ben Johnson being there. And so my first gut reaction was like, I just think DeAndre Swift's going to be better than people think, even though I don't think he's that good of a running back. And then I took it back. I literally offered the trade and retracted it because I don't want DeAndre Swift.
Yeah.
Which means that the byproduct of that thinking is, hey, who can step up? Who can be a contributor? You know,
Ben Johnson, I mean, this is a really good point to bring up, Mike, is the fact that this isn't like, oh, he's bringing his system over and he likes two backs. Okay, that's fine. We have literally seen this offensive coordinator, who is now the head coach / offensive coordinator here for the Bears, with this running back as the lead predominant back.
The guy that the fantasy community viewed as the lead back.
Back then we really wanted him to be something.
Yes. Absolutely. And after that season, he went and got a big contract. So it wasn't a bad season. Do you know, in his final year with the Lions, Andy...
He got traded after that season. He didn't get the money then.
Fair. Do you know how many carries he had in his final year with Detroit?
In DeAndre Swift?
14 games.
14 games.
I know he was probably great on a per-touch basis.
He was pretty good on a per-touch basis, but he had 99 total carries with that team.
Well, he couldn't. Yeah, I mean, they just had no confidence in him.
I'd say in that year, that was the Jamal Williams year, where Jamal Williams goes from just a lovable backup running back who had a few opportunities in Green Bay, and you're just like, okay, he's not that dude. He's a fine player, but then he goes out for Detroit, gets so many touchdowns, and then he's gone. And then Jamal Williams goes to another team, and you're like, Jamal Williams is toast. He has nothing left, and they were just using this guy who was inefficient in the year 2022. That's the Swift year. Swift was at 5.5 yards per carry, but they wanted to keep his carries low and just kind of get as many chunk plays as they can, and they would go to Jamal Williams, who was inefficient, but they kept giving him the ball over and over and over.
So this is not an anti DeAndre Swift thing. It is a pro
little bit it
Roschon.
is.
A little bit, but
bit.
this is your ultimate draft kit surprise was Roschon Johnson being higher than what you expected. Because if you look at ADP right now, Roschon Johnson's just left for dead.
Yeah, he's got to be.
He would be an undrafted player.
Pretty much.
I'll talk about a player from Detroit. It's Jameson Williams. That was one of the players that stood out when I got through my initial stat projections. I have him at 11 at wide receiver right now. Some interesting things about Jameson Williams. I have always been a Jameson Williams fan, much to Kyle's chagrin. I feel like last year you saw a lot from Jameson Williams on that offense. He was over 1,000 yards, 7 touchdowns, scored on the ground, missed 2 games. One thing that's interesting about him, I mean, this was a 12th overall pick, and he has progressed every year. The confidence in Jameson Williams, I think, and what he can do for this team, like we all like and understand Amon-Ra St. Brown's role in this offense. I think we're always a little bit surprised at how many touchdowns Amon-Ra manages to score for what kind of wide receiver he is.
Mm-hmm. It's because he got the dog.
He does. He's got the dog in him. But I think Jameson Williams is going to take another step forward. When looking at his numbers, I have him projected for a 19.4% target share. Last year, he was at 17%.
19 is fine.
So I've got him at 19% this year. I have him scoring 8 times through the air. There were only 4 players. There were 4 players last year with 4 or more games with 20-plus fantasy points. Jamar Chase, Mike Evans, Brian Thomas Jr., Jameson Williams, and he missed 2 games last year. He is that kind of player. He is the out-of-nowhere 178-yard type of game. He's actually one of only 9 players in the last decade with 1,000-plus receiving yards on fewer than 100 targets. To me, that is headroom for him to become more integral in this offense. There's a lot of things that, when you look at Detroit, they have a tough schedule. Their offensive efficiency without Ben Johnson, what's that going to be?
Yep.
Will Jared Goff be as successful? But I do believe in the system. I do believe that they're a top 10 offense if they're not the number 1 offense. And I think Jameson Williams is just one of those players. He gives you, he's going to get the ball 15 times on the ground on end arounds, and he's got that explosive speed. I was not expecting him to end up in my top 12, but I feel like I statted him out for a really reasonable season. I lowered his yards per reception to down by a yard. He's still, I think it's a big surprise for fantasy players because he's still, with 66 completions, his level of explosiveness puts him into that category where he can be a weekly game changer for you.
Yeah. He had those 4 games for sure. There was some weird disappearing stuff, but he is a player who in my ranks, he's not nearly as high as he is for you, Andy, but he is a player who I was pleasantly surprised to get the projection out there and feel like this is a player who, because when we're doing projections, we're not necessarily, or I'll speak for me, I'm not projecting ceiling case for any of these guys. I'm going with more of things go right. They play 17.
Well, health. We project for health.
Projecting health, which is very difficult to do because you have most players miss a few games, but then I don't know. I don't want to project missed games unless I know for sure, this dude just never plays a full season.
Here's what fantasy players are going to have to decide with Jameson Williams, because I have him ranked ahead of 4 names that I would say are illustrious but older. So you're thinking about players like Devontae Adams at this stage of his career, right? Mm-hmm. Tyreek Hill at this stage of his career. Mike Evans at this stage of his career. Even somebody like A.J. Brown, who is not too old, but offense we'll see.
Okay.
Those are players that you're going to have to look at Jameson Williams, who, again, very young. Does he have more headroom? Those other guys are not going upwards. Tyreek Hill's he's not on the way up.
Yeah, no, some of those old guys. I have A.J. Brown still 24. In a different tier than those other guys, but
yeah, and that's understandable.
Obviously, this is why in the Ultimate Draft Kit we have an upside meter and a risk meter attached to these players, so it's not just you get our tiered rankings and you get our stat projections, everything, but then there is also what is the upside case for these players? Jameson Williams, I imagine for all 3 of us, is very high in the upside rating because he has physical ability and speed on a great offense where he could pull away and make a big difference in fantasy. The things that I saw when I was statting out the UDK, one thing that wasn't surprising that is fun, and one thing that was surprising, the fun, not surprising thing to me, last year I did not have a single rookie, which this felt so weird and bad, but I didn't have a single rookie running back in my top 30 last year, which I didn't see Bucky Irving coming, but outside of that, I was like, okay, well, that makes sense. The math checked out. It was right.
Yeah, we had
Tyrone Tracy was okay.
Before the season,
Well,
we were looking at Jonathan Brooks.
The big names
we were looking at
Brooks
Marshawn
and
Lloyd.
Benson.
Yeah, Marshawn
and then
Lloyd,
and Brooks were hurt.
Yeah, so it wasn't good. This year, I have 6 rookie running backs in the top 30, 6 of them, and I will be blown away if we don't have 6 rookies in the top 30 at the end of the year. I've been telling people, if you're drafting, draft rookies. If you're going deep, if you're in a dynasty league and your rookie draft is over, go scour the waiver wire and pick them all up, because the depth of quality of the rookie running backs coming in this year are outstanding. So that wasn't surprising. The surprising thing for me was Bo Nix. I like Bo Nix. I believe in him as a player. I believed in him after the draft. It was a great rookie season. But when I really break it down, I look at how the team is progressing, what I expect him to be able to do touchdown percentage-wise, as far as, just what percentage of his passing attempts end up in passing touchdowns, his rushing ability that is, I think not talked about enough. I was really, really surprised. He's currently my quarterback 6. So, I mean, he was a top 10 quarterback last year, and the first month of the season he really didn't do hardly anything despite starting. He was very handcuffed by the coaching staff, and was used like a rookie quarterback, where it's like the reins were on him.
Don't screw it up.
Yeah, but the second half of the year, the whole last 3 quarters of the year, he was so good. So I've got him high. Andy made me a ridiculous trade offer that I saw come through.
Ridiculous. How?
Ridiculous in the sense that it was terrible. You offered, so the trade was basically Kyler and picks for Bo Nix and picks in a dynasty league. The problem is the picks were on the Kyler side. Like I could trade Bo Nix and sacrifice picks to receive Kyler Murray. My dynasty rankings, I have Bo Nix ahead of Kyler Murray right now, straight up. So when I saw the trade come through, I thought it was a 1-for-1, and then I was like,
I thought about 1-for-1,
and I literally was like, okay, push comes to shove. Would I really rather have Bo Nix than Kyler? Because I've got Bo Nix right now. Would I really rather have him than Kyler? I'm not sure. And then I look at the picks, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's the wrong side.
Well, I think we know that Kyler in the right season could be number 1 overall. He could finish at 1. I mean, he's finished at 2 before. The rushing upside of Kyler Murray gives him a different ceiling. But I'm with you. I like the reason you make that offer is because inside you're saying like, well, Bo Nix longer term, more stable, pocket passer that can be in the 4 to 6 range maybe long term. I mean, that's the thought process there.
Yeah,
some people are more tantalized by the ceiling with a running quarterback, and maybe that's a prescription for somebody to try out. Because I think in a lot of leagues, I think in the majority of dynasty leagues, people are going to look at Kyler Murray ahead of Bo Nix.
I think that will until the end of not me, but until the end of this season. I think Kyler will be ahead of Nix in most dynasty startup rankings. Obviously, Kyler has more rushing upside than Nix, but you look at last year, Kyler had 572 rushing yards. That's outstanding. I expect that to go up this year based on some of the offseason reports, but Bo Nix had 430 rushing yards. He is a mobile quarterback that's not, Lamar and Kyler and Jaden Daniels, but he is he's not like I'm going to add 200 rushing yards. This is a significant fantasy tool.
You know what? Just because of your negative comments about the trade, I won't be trading you anything for Travis Etienne. You can keep him.
I really need to get something from him, though.
We'll take a break. We'll hit the news here in a second. A reminder, ultimatedraftkit.com, lowest price possible if you pre-order before June 1st. Get all of our projections in detail on June 1st. We'll take a break. We'll be right back.
news and notes from around the league.
The 49ers, they did it. They signed Brock Purdy. 5-year, $265 million contract, $181 guaranteed. No trade clause.
That one is that's a big one.
That's a brilliant one because
Yeah.
Shanahan
Yes. He'll turn on you.
he is cutthroat, man. You know, players love Shanahan, but he will 100% turn on. He will throw you in the doghouse. He will cut you either from the roster or with a knife. He's that
He'll attack you.
He's that kind of man. So this is genius that they have a no trade clause. It's
Well,
like you are the quarterback of the 49ers for the foreseeable future.
I cannot imagine the feeling of signing that contract if you're Brock Purdy.
Oh my god!
You
Pick.
were the last pick in the draft. You went to a team where you seemingly had no chance.
They had just traded their entire future for Trey Lance.
Yes, and they had Jimmy Garoppolo, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So they had two people ahead of him on the depth chart. And he just signed a piece of paper that guarantees him $181 million.
Congratulations, Mr. Purdy.
Like,
And he wasn't.
I think he'll be successful. The 49. We don't talk schedule release a ton. We mocked it a little bit in terms of
how
the
they're doing
fanfare.
it. Yeah.
But the 49ers, there's a reason. Like we kind of were like, why is this 6-win team where they are with the Super Bowl projections in Vegas? Their schedule is the best in football. Like the NFL believes in the 49ers. They're in prime time a bunch. This team is going to win a bunch of games this year again. They just signed Fred Warner. The offseason, yes, they lost some pieces, but you lock up Brock Purdy. Things are just looking really, really good to me for the 49ers. They're just such a tried and true organization. You can trust it. And Brock Purdy he's locked up. I mean, that's another dynasty target, in my opinion.
For sure. Brock Purdy is not given the allocates. You know, he is a wonderful fantasy asset, and he's not seen that way. You know, he was the quarterback 14 this current season, and he missed a game. His upside 2 years ago, he was the quarterback 6, and still, like, he is not drafted.
I look at him like, I mean, he's not that far off of the Bo Nix conversation.
Yeah, Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, I mean, it's pocket passer. It's 4 to 8 possible finish. But look, huge deal. And the 49ers are locked up at quarterback. So congrats to Brock Purdy.
Mm-hmm.
That's a 1 in a billion situation for him to come in and do what he did.
Right.
Nick Sirianni, multi-year contract in Philly.
Makes sense.
This is the time to sign your deals, man.
Makes
I
sense.
just love that he was
wanted
on the hot seat
Yeah, he
last
was, he
year,
was.
like in season,
Yelling at the fans.
and then you win the
Oh,
Super
yeah,
Bowl.
he had to shave his head.
Yeah,
And bring his
you had to
kids
do a
the
reboot.
press conference because it was like
I mean,
That's right. Yeah, he was hiding behind the
he's-
kids.
he was hiding behind the kids. He was on the hot
man.
seat.
he's a weirdo, but he's a good coach, and they won a Super Bowl. So
Yeah, they've been there twice, won one.
It's impressive.
If they lose a few games, they will turn on him too.
oh, they will.
So,
Yeah, but now he's gonna be like,
remember when that city hated Andy Reid?
he's gonna say,
Oh,
whatever,
man.
whatever, fire me.
I was going to say best job in sports is a fired coach.
I'll
Go
sit
get
on the
money
couch
somewhere else.
and I will make millions.
The NFL owners are scheduled to meet today and tomorrow to vote on a proposal to ban the tush push.
And it's going to happen, which sucks and is going to completely change my rankings.
I mean, I do not think it will happen.
So
Thank you for
the biggest issue with this is, at least the way that I am reading it with all the information that I have, and perhaps there's more that was not shared on social media, but it was it looked like a clear screenshot of this is like
The official proposal.
in a document. This is what the language of the rule will be, and my reading of it is it's not just it wouldn't just get rid of the tush push. It was all those pile plays where you have a running back who gets stood up, by a couple defenders. He's still kind of moving, and then the reinforcements come in. The O-line comes in. They push. Sometimes the running back gets lifted up in the air. We've seen that a whole bunch.
That's hysterical.
And it's a play that people love.
Uh-huh.
Crowds go insane when you're the home team and that happens. Your team gets an extra 5 yards that you were not expecting to happen.
When is the last time you've seen that play?
last season.
And you've seen someone get hurt.
Oh,
I've never seen it.
Maybe
it's happened.
I don't know if it has, but the point being, they're trying to get rid of the tush push.
Player safety.
But I think that they're going to bring in a headache of if they have to actually manage that as a rule.
Let me give you a couple points of clarity that I believe will exist. First of all pushing of that sort was banned prior to 2004.
Yes.
And it was too hard to administrate, and so they got rid of that, and that opened the door for the tush push in its current form to happen. I still believe the stipulation that will exist on this rule, if passed, will be the term immediate. It will be immediate push. I think that is the term.
Upon snap.
Just immediate. Upon snap, which will eliminate this play, but not throw into question the downfield, dog pile, pushing situation.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'm fairly sure that if it goes through, that's the form it will take. I'm not confident it's going through, but, we don't want to overreact in the other direction if it does go through because, look, Jalen Hurts squats 600 pounds. The offensive line is what's doing the push the majority of the time. I still think there will be a tremendous amount of sneaks going on that are successful from Jalen Hurts. If they get to the 1 yard line, they're not going to be like, oh, we can't do this now. I think they're going to give opportunities for players to get into the end zone that way.
If you
it's
don't
not like Josh Allen's been having a tush push and he's scoring 10 times a year.
If you don't put people behind Jalen Hurts to push him, he's still super strong. He's gonna get there. Tom Brady had an unstoppable quarterback sneak. You just need something. He could know when and where to line up, and Jalen Hurts knows
Josh Allen has
how
never
to
been
lift
pushed.
the house with his legs.
Yeah.
Well, he's never been pushed correctly.
No, that's what I'm saying. But he still scores on the ground all the time.
Yeah, he gets stopped way more than Jalen Hurts does.
So that will
but we'll see.
Look, by the time you're listening to this, we may have some more insight.
Yeah.
It's just we're recording this early on Tuesday. They're voting. I think that's the major news. We got if you want off-season muscle hype, Marvin Harrison.
Oh,
you
can
go look at big Marvin Harrison. He's gained some weight.
Hey, man, love it. My old adage is when a wide receiver puts on weight and muscle, I love it. When a running back loses weight, I love it.
Yes.
When a running back puts on weight because they're like, I'm going to bulk up for – no, I do not like that. That doesn't work out.
I have, Marvin Harrison in my top 12 as well.
I'm never going back to the pants store.
Please.
I think that's all we'll cover today news-wise. Mike, you ready for – you got something else, Jay?
I was just checking. I've got Marv at 12.
Oh, Marv Bros.
Yeah.
We already know how Mike feels.
Yeah, burnt.
Yeah, it was
Try to tell you.
so
Yeah.
Jason's got both sides of it. He
Yeah.
was right on the bust, and he's got him up high this year.
Hey, when you're right, you're right.
Mailbag time.
Mailbag.
Ooh, yeah.
We do have a voicemail question. If you wanted to submit one to the show, you can go to the website, thefantasyfootballers.com, click on the submit a question button, or dial the 302-464-TFFB number. We'll start with a voicemail.
Hey, Ballers, Chris here. Love the show. Just wondering what your guys' opinions are on the quarterback rankings this year. I feel like there's a big drop-off after Jalen Hurts, and I kind of like the idea of drafting the Justin Fields, the Drake Mays, the Caleb Williams later in the draft, redraft league. Let me know what you think. Thanks.
So the question was, it's just quarterback strategy and talking about the big boys at the top, which would be, top tier, we got Lamar, Allen, Jalen Hurts, Jaden Daniels, and then Burrow is in that category.
Burrow is not in that category to most people.
Okay,
he should be in that category.
He's in that category for me.
Right. He's the fifth quarterback ADP-wise, going right now at the 4-5 turn.
So, things have really changed when it comes to drafting and what the market is, where, when 10 years ago, when we were first doing this show, the really late round quarterback strategy, it was extremely effective. One, because people would prop up pocket passers and take those guys real early, and we would tell you, no, there's such variance here. 1 year, Baker Mayfield will throw 4,040. The The next year, he could be 3,529. And that is such a devastating drop-off in fantasy production, and it's not sticky. Joe Burrow's like the only guy to me where it's like, no, I will count on Joe Burrow having in the mid-30s at least in passing touchdowns.
I feel like the names he brought up, though,
For the late.
are like a third bucket, right? Like there's those top 4 or 5 names if you include Burrow. Then there's another bucket of like middle to late that is going to end up being, I mean, like
That's like Kyler, Bo Nix.
Baker, Dak, Jordan Love, and then even Mahomes. And then you've that third bucket that May and Fields, it's like those are very questionable whether you'll be able to rely on them week to week.
Absolutely.
Names. You can take the shot. Like, I mean, I don't mind you taking that shot, but you have to do that with, maybe it's the final 2 picks. You're taking 2 of those guys.
Yeah, I don't mind that strategy at all. And it's you got identifying the proper late round guys. Like,
I mean, I like Drake May a lot.
Yeah, I'm saying taking the shot last year on Baker Mayfield late was not something many people did. Even, I mean, he's stringing together a bunch of fantasy games, and he's still a waiver wire guy. And we're like, I don't know if Baker can keep doing this. And then he did. But so I'm saying that is
Sort of.
If you're, well, he ended up, what was he, top 5 quarterback?
He was, but once he lost Godwin, he had a.
It wasn't as good.
It was a pretty soft middle.
Yeah, the edges were very rigid. In the middle, very
The cookie, it was a soft middle.
So
That's what you want.
Where I'm getting to,
Yeah.
That's what I want.
But the crispy edges, technically, in that analogy, are what you wanted because they are better.
But
in the
the
football,
whole thing coming together. I mean,
you say you want the soft middle.
I want a soft middle with hard edges on a cookie.
Right, on a cookie, but in the
Yeah, I agree.
season,
Not on a quarterback.
not on a quarterback.
well, I mean,
Shredded
Big,
top and
ben,
bottom.
Big Ben's more of a soft
Right.
a middle.
Big Ben is a soft middle.
the point being, when you're looking at the late round guys, target the ones that do run, because that's what the OG strategy, 10 years ago was. People weren't wise to how different a mobile quarterback was for fantasy football, and we could find those guys late. Like, just a reminder, Lamar Jackson, the year 2 was a double-digit round quarterback, and it was Did we know for sure it was going to work? No, but this is the type of archetype you want to go after.
So name one. Name one.
Drake May and Justin Fields.
Drake May and Justin Fields are 2 guys that I would.
What about Caleb?
I wouldn't.
Or are you trying to put it in the box of like the rushing upside?
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
that's
okay.
exactly when I'm going late. That's the type of player I want. A player who's going to give me 400 something yards at least on the
Trevor
ground.
Lawrence.
No,
I wouldn't.
To
Okay.
answer the question of the voicemail, which is he sees this top tier bucket, which I don't think he's including Joe Burrow, which he should, but after Jalen Hurts, that it kind of drops off. I would prefer to either take one of those really impressive mobile quarterbacks, the Hurts, Allen, Jaden Daniels, or wait all the way. I don't want that middle tier guy. I know I just talked up Bo
I'm
Nix.
okay middle tier.
I know I talked up Bo Nix. I know you like Baker Mayfield.
Look at Bo Nix as the rushing upside.
But it's like there's still quality running backs and wide receivers in those rounds where those quarterbacks are going that I don't feel like they're not going to lap the field at quarterback.
Caleb
And
was
so
on
I would
pace
rather
for
have
476.
Yeah, which that is a fair point. I would
take the bottom of the
I don't think
second-
Caleb's
I'd take
gonna
the
go
bottom
late.
of the second bucket.
I would rather go
Versus
all the
the top
way
of the third
to the I really believe in Drake May. Drake May is a top 12
But
quarterback
if you
for me
could
this year.
if you could get Baker in the 8th round, or you're taking,
Well, sure, but I think Baker's like a 5th round pick right now.
is he?
Baker is going at the 601, so the 5-6 turn.
Yeah, you get to a certain place,
Is
and
that best ball or sleeper?
Sleeper.
yeah,
Wow.
you get to a certain place later where I'm saying to myself, would I rather have Baker or Bo Nix or Kyler, or take a shot on a team in New England that's going to win a handful of games in New York? That's where it gets a little freakier for me.
Well, but I mean, it's what does it cost? Like, what does it cost?
But that's my point. It's so late.
No, I'm saying, what does it cost to take one of those middle tier quarterbacks?
I mean, if I can, I'll take the bottom of the middle tier in the 8th round.
So the bottom of the middle tier in the 8th round is an acceptable pick. That is Bo Nix. He's
Yeah,
at
that's
the
what I'm
809.
saying. That's what I'd rather do that on a team that's playoff bound.
In the 8th round, that is good value. Like, that's a big difference to me. Baker and Bo Nix, I've got them similarly, ranked where they're finishing near each other. But the difference between a 6th-round pick and an 8th-round pick
Yeah.
for two quarterbacks that probably have the same range of outcomes.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Instagram question from James. What is Drake London's outlook with Michael Penix Jr.? He's only 23.8 years old. He's entering year 4 now, Drake London is.
It was a certified breakout, 1,200, almost 1,300 yards, 9 touchdowns, was the wide receiver 6. We don't have a lot of – the sample size for Penix is
Was it three starts at the end of the year,
yes,
or was it 2?
It was 3.
Do you remember Drake London's targets in those 3 games?
I remember this.
I remember
this all the time.
the
6,000 targets, 14 million yards, 97 touchdowns,
Yeah.
Hall of Fame bust.
Absolutely.
It was.
221 target pace.
The last 3 games of the year in general are kind of stupid sometimes stat-wise, and then
They can be.
It was also
I
the
mean-
Giants, the Commanders, and the Panthers.
Yeah. So the outlook for Drake London is that's the profile and the archetype you need to be betting on 100%.
well, let's look at our numbers.
I am a little I think
Are
Michael
you
Penix
soft
is.
in the middle with Drake London? Is that what you're saying?
I'm concerned about.
That sounds like what
I'm
he's
concerned
saying.
about Penix, man.
I have Drake London. You ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
Do.
Wide receiver 7,
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's-
love
yeah,
it. I
that's
love
fine.
it. I've got him at 10.
96 for 1256 and 8.
I got him at wide receiver 12.
Yeah, so he's a wide receiver 1.
But I like Michael Penix. I think he's going to succeed there.
I do too.
So I do think there's a little bit of risk. I mean, the Drake London Olave, coming out at the same time, waiting for them to hit. London finally hit. Olave, we're sitting here going, heard rumors.
Olave and Garrett were waiting.
Yeah.
Olave broke out. Olave has been great since he got on the field. Just stay on the field forever. So
It's
sad.
going to be tough
mean,
this year,
I
man.
know.
Even when he was, even when he was like on the field,
He's great. He doesn't give you the.
he's not that great.
He's great.
He's good.
He
He doesn't score a ton.
he doesn't have the boom games
I mean,
where
he
he
played
scores 30 points, but like
He played
has
16
his
games. 16 games in 2023, he averaged 11.7
His
points.
entire career, he has a consistency rating of an A.
Yeah, but that's
the
like a
vast majority of his games are good for you, helps you win fantasy leagues.
he's the restaurant. You're just like, okay, I ate a meal,
No, he's the
but
restaurant.
I don't leave telling people about it.
He's the restaurant you go where you've never had something bad there.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But you never had something you told nobody about.
You show me a restaurant
And sometimes
I've
you
never
get
had something
food-
bad. I'm going
And
there
you,
tonight.
you get food poisoning sometimes.
Oh, whoa.
What?
Food poisoning.
Yes, that's the concussions.
Oh,
in
that's
the
too
analogy.
far.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
That's-
Okay.
That was hurtful. Don't like that. That's not his fault.
Did you get food poisoning this weekend? You tried,
not
didn't you?
from food.
Oh my goodness.
So for Michael Penix, you guys have confidence. I know small sample, 3 games, but I mean statistically, not good.
You're saying because his completion percentage was under 60%? Yeah. I mean, he had a little bit of the struggle bust his rookie season, but he also showed enough to me in those 3 games where they were talented. The team was putting up points. I don't have the game log in front of me. If you have
I
it.
do, and I can tell you what
Yeah.
his 17 game pace.
No, I'm talking about the actual the games.
In those 3 games.
Yeah, but did they win? Did they put up points as an offense?
Oh yeah, they put up 34 points
That's
on the
fantastic.
Giants with 200 yards and 0 passing touchdowns.
I do have confidence in him. I really do. Zach Robinson, I have confidence in him. Give Penix some time. They're moving on from Kirk Cousins. This is a player. Look, the Falcons have, I think their win total is like 7.5. I think they can push for the playoffs. I think the NFL believes in them. I think they have a ton of prime time.
I don't love completing
No,
55% of your passes against the Carolina Panthers.
He put up 38 points. I mean, what? I think he's going to be a successful quarterback.
Okay.
yeah, I do.
I'm not saying he won't. I'm saying that I have concerns. I'm not going to push all
You're
my
just more
chips.
worried
I'm not
than
going to
we
push
are,
my
yeah.
chips in on that 3-game sample of completing 58% of passes. Like other quarterbacks at that percentage would be absolutely dunked on by this show.
It's just too small of a sample.
Sure.
Either direction. I'm not giving Drake London his super projection from that time either. Penix is 21 in my rankings. It's not like he's becoming a fantasy superstar. I just think as a team, when you've got Zach Robinson, Bijan, and Drake London and Mooney.
Richardson completed 60% of his passes in 4 games played his rookie year, and we were on here like that's not good enough.
Well, that was more about college, though, too.
Yeah.
That was more about what we saw in college from Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, because you have to bring that
the
in.
Fumbles and the mistakes.
Just saying.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I don't criticize away. I don't think we've seen enough Michael Penix to really make a deduction. I mean, he had one of his games was 67%. One of his games was 54%. One of them games was 55%.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's really hard when you're a rookie. You haven't played. You're acclimating. Are you good? Are you not good? I mean, the team at least made the determination. This is the guy we're going with. That's all we know.
Yeah. Yeah, and that'll be the question. Was that because they feel like Penix is the future? They have to do that, or do they looked at Kirk Cousins and went, "We have to do something else. It doesn't matter what it is. We got to move away."
Let's take a break. We'll answer some more questions. I was in the middle of pulling up the Michael Penix collegiate numbers. He was a 63.3% passer in college. Those last 2 years, 65% passer. It'll be interesting. I mean, he's got a rocket. It's just, can he execute the offense?
The problem is he spins the ball the wrong way and people can't catch it. I hated lefty quarterbacks.
Wait, are you being serious?
I am actually being serious.
And when did you hate them?
When we played flag football.
Oh.
Remember, we had one of our guys who was kind of a backup quarterback when you weren't there, and he threw left, and
your brain couldn't take it.
My brain, my hands, the whole thing.
And
man.
what hand do you write with?
I'm left-handed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Self-hatred.
It's true. It's true, Mike.
This is a show today.
And I don't blame you. Left-handed people are just inferior.
The worst.
There is. But you shoot right-handed in basketball.
That's right.
Yeah, because he was so ashamed.
He was. He relearned.
Yeah. Watch me throw a football. That's a right-handed throw.
You ain't
because I'm a man.
That's why it's so bad.
Right, because I have sacrificed.
You probably are awesome.
If I were to throw with my left hand, maybe, but I don't want to be the Prius of quarterbacks.
The Boomer Esiason of the office.
Yeah.
I know we're going to disagree on this one here. Instagram question from Daniel. It's very short. It says, quote, "Bucky hype real?" ?
Bucky hype is very real.
Yeah.
The hype is confirmed.
The hype is out of control. So when we say we're going to disagree, when Andy says that, the reason he's saying that is because he is very bullish on Bucky. He is leading the hype, and I don't blame him. I remember last year watching the player and saying, like, I'm usually OUT on fourth-round running back rookies who have success because the next year is not going to happen. And I said it over and over and over. It's like, this is different. It's different. Bucky is awesome. However, I think the hype is out of control. Right now, Bucky is the 6th running back off the board. He is being drafted as a super-duper star in fantasy, and I have my words because he's still in a timeshare. Sean Tucker is there. Rashad White is not going away. He is still undersized. And so I like him a lot. I've got him. I've definitely got him as a RB1, but I do worry that the hype is too high.
You put when you draft the player at his peak, it's a zero-sum game. He has to deliver at that value. And if you believe, we have risk ratings in the UDK, like you said. Like if you believe that there's a possibility that, is it 25% chance that he's a big letdown? That's too much.
Yeah, I mean, when you're drafting a guy at top 5 at any position, you're always drafting them at their ceiling. Like they can only, hit or disappoint.
Yeah, they can meet your expectation or they can fail.
Exactly. And so I just want higher odds of them meeting the expectation. If you look at Saquon, you look at Bijan, you look at Jahmyr Gibbs, I'm confident that those 3 guys, I'm not going to be disappointed barring injury.
Bucky's not in that group.
That's my point.
And he's
But
not in
being-
that group on my
He's
ranking.
being drafted right behind that group. He's like the next man up after the stars.
You're having to choose Bucky or McCaffrey.
right, and I will take McCaffrey.
You're having to choose Bucky or
Genty.
right, and I don't think he's there. I have Bucky at 8, so I guess
Okay.
I'm not. I have him behind Christian McCaffrey. I have him ahead of Achane. Chase Brown,
Achane is a
Kyron.
perfect example of like Achane and Bucky. They're the same tier. They could both be awesome. They are both awesome players, but there's risk. You look at both of those guys and go, it is not a surefire thing that they're going to be a top 5 running back. They both can be.
From a talent perspective, I think Bucky is incredible. I think Bucky Irving is an incredible running back on an incredible offense with tons of weapons and opportunities to score. I have so much more confidence in them than I do whatever the heck the Dolphins are trying to figure out to do on offense every week. So that's where I would weigh in. Like, I think Bucky's very safe. Like, I think he's ridiculously safe of a running back, but he could end up too expensive. I don't know where you weigh in, Mike. Where did he end up in your rankings?
So currently he is RB9. So I mean, I'm
right around the same place.
I'm in, but I'm not in compared to the ADP. I think Achane is like nothing. You can never get a full apples to apples comparison because of all the variables. But it's like Devon Achane's rookie year. You know, the efficiency was absolutely wild, and it looked like, dude, when he is the guy, it's going to be incredible. And overall, it was a great fantasy year. You know, he had over 200 carries. He was at 4.5 yards an attempt, but it was the targets. It's the 87 targets that when things aren't working on the ground, you can rely on that, and you can PPR your way into a fantasy day where you're not ripping your hair out. Where Rachaad White is like Rachaad White's probably still going to see 50+ targets in this offense, and that changes where if Bucky is not having a great day on the ground, like Rachaad White's still there to steal targets. No one's stealing targets at the running back position from Achane.
Bucky had 52 targets last year.
Yeah, and
he caught a higher percentage of. Remember that we came into last year going, Rachaad White caught such a high percentage of his passes. He caught higher. Bucky Irving caught a higher percentage of his passes than Rachaad White did.
And Rachaad White had more targets than him last year.
He did.
And Bucky only played 13 games.
That's the part that I think, like, he was an 1,100-yard runner on 200 touches. So that efficiency probably won't stay there if they give him the rock that much. But he is going to be very interesting. I just think what I saw on film from Bucky Irving was a marked multi-tier difference between him and anybody else on that roster, and they love him, and he goes to work, and so I think he's their guy. I think how many carries did you project for him? Because I'm at
225.
I'm at 240.
Let me pull it up.
I'd just be curious.
I am at 230.
I lied.
You did?
I did lie.
You're a liar.
I have him at 2.
Yeah,
and for more carries than you do.
And I think, look, like we said, we do project health, but Bucky is undersized. And I know Achane played the full year last year, but when you see your guy just limping off the field, getting banged up all the time, where he'll play through it if he can, but I think that it's at least a concern that if you're saying, we love this guy, we're going to bump him up to 250 carries. Mm-hmm. Can a sub 200-pound guy like Bucky running backs miss games, but it's just does that pendulum swing now from I missed 2 games to I'm going to miss 4 games.
He's a violent runner is more what it is to me than the size. He's a Thomas Rawls, Royce,
and smaller.
Yeah, the size. I mean, it's a legitimate point that Mike is bringing up. If you don't remember week 13 against Carolina, they gave him 28 opportunities, 25 carries on the ground. How did he do? He was awesome. 152 rushing yards, over 6 a carry, touchdown, another touchdown through the air. Was the running back 1 on the week? Do you remember what happened after that game?
He looked like a mummy.
He was wrapped up, ice everywhere. He was a bruised and beaten little boy going to the locker room, and then the next week he comes out after being the running back 1. And he was banged up that whole week, missed some practices, but he's active, and everyone starts him because he had to be started. And in that game where he played the entire he did not get injured in that game. He came in a little banged up, and in that game he was given 4 carries, played 16% of the snaps, and was basically it was like, oh, he's beat up. Let's give Rachaad White and Sean Tucker. So the risk is definitely there being an undersized back.
Instagram question from James Duranda. I'm pretty dead set on drafting Trey McBride or Brock Bowers in round 2.
Smart.
Is that a smart move? Wide receiver position's too deep.
I answered it. I'm out.
I'm perfectly fine with that. One of those two guys.
You will not be sad.
Yeah.
You will not regret that decision.
I don't think you'll be sad. The only thing you will be potentially sad about is the game of your draft where someone comes in the second round, they get one of the real big breakout players that comes out of the second round, and then 2 or 3 rounds later, I don't know where George Kittle is going, but that will be it. Is how good is George Kittle compared to those guys, and your opportunity cost of taking Bowers or McBride in the second.
Kittle right now is a 5th-round pick. I don't think he'll stay that low. If he is, then, I mean, congratulations.
But even in the 4th, that makes it a hard decision. And you may not be slotted like where I'm going to be able to take a player in the second and then guarantee I'll get George Kittle in the 4th. So that's what I mean by if you want to enter into that contest of I'm going to get Kittle. I'll be the one who gets him.
I think you aim for McBride and Bowers. It's kind of not your choice always, where you are in the second, whether they arrive on your doorstep or not. If you can't get them in the second, aim for Kittle in the 4th, and you'll be just as happy.
Do you know what we're doing on Thursday?
A show.
Yeah. Do you know what the show's going to be about?
I am unaware, but I feel
Mike,
like
are
you're
you
about
aware
to
what
tell
the
me.
Thursday show is?
I am aware.
What is this show? It sounds pretty good.
Mock draft.
There is.
We're doing it.
We're doing the first mock draft of the year.
Nice.
Time.
Are you guys going to
Makalaka ding dong.
light up a pack of smokes like I've been doing
Oh yeah.
for the draft?
I'm in here with a cigar.
So sultry that's the word you were looking
No,
for?
raspy.
So raspy. Okay.
Nothing positive.
Let's see how Deucer's Alley's doing.
Oh, Still there.
Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for listening.
Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Join our fantasy football community on jointhefoot.com and follow us on Twitter @TheFFBallers.